Hey friends! If you're excited to watch the super hit Ne Zha 2 movie is a 2025 in English, make sure to hit the like button. And if you're new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe and stay updated with all our latest content. In today's video, we're diving into all things about the movie. I'll be sharing all the important details about the film, what it's about, where you can watch it, and some fascinating facts you might not know. I'll also give you information on which platforms or satellite channels are streaming this movie, and we'll break down the technical side of things, including the music, pre-production, filming process, post-production, and budget. We'll even talk about the box office performance of El Inferno. Of course, we'll explore the movie's storyline in detail, share my thoughts with a mini-review, and discuss the star cast, the actors' performances, and the roles each character plays. So don't forget to watch the video all the way to the end for all the insights. Let's get started. Ne Zha 2 is a 2025 Chinese animated fantasy adventure film written and directed by Yuze. It is the sequel to the 2019 film Ne Zha. The film is loosely based on the novel Investiture of the Gods, Feng Shen Yanyi. The film was released in theaters across China on January 29, 2025, coinciding with the first day of Chinese New Year. Like its predecessor, it received widespread critical acclaim. With a production budget of $80 million, the film grossed $1.7 billion, breaking multiple box office records. It surpassed Inside Out 2, 2024, to become the highest-grossing animated film of all time, marking the first time a non-American, non-English language animated film achieved this milestone. Additionally, it became the fastest-grossing animated film, reaching its record-breaking total in less than 3 weeks. The film also claimed the title of the highest-grossing film in China and the highest-grossing non-English language film, becoming the first non-English film to earn $1 billion at the box office. It ranks as the highest-grossing film of 2025 and the 8th highest-grossing film of all time. On its 11th day of release, Ne Zha 2 became the highest-grossing film in a single box office territory, surpassing the $936 million grossed by Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 2015, in North America, which had taken 165 days to reach that milestone. Ne Zha and Ne Zha 2, along with Zhangxia, 2020, are part of Inlight Pictures' Feng Shen universe. Plot: after Ne Zha, son of Chuntang Pass's Commander Li Jing, and Ao Bing, son of the Dragon King of the East Sea Ao Guang, are struck by heavenly lightning together, their physical bodies are destroyed. To prevent their souls from dissipating, Tai Zhenren exhausts his sacred lotus to reshape their physical bodies. Ao Guang, believing his son is dead, mounts an attack on the town, releasing the monsters imprisoned under his palace, including the other 3 Dragon Kings. Ao Bing defends Chuntang Pass, but due to the effort exerted, his new body disintegrates. Ao Guang makes a ceasefire deal. In exchange, Ao Bing and Ne Zha will share Ne Zha's body for 7 days, complete Master Xian Wuliang's 3 trials for ascending to Xian, and win a potion, with which they may restore the sacred lotus and create a new body for Ao Bing. In the trials, candidates complete missions supervised by and normally performed by the heavenly Taoist sect's demon-hunting forces. Ne Zha hides his demonic nature by taking sleeping medicine, allowing Ao Bing to fully control his body. They beat the first 2 trials against a rodent bandit clan and a master who trains demons to prepare for the Xian trials. All are arrested by the forces for training in the proper path. In the meantime, Ao Guang tasks Shen Gongbao, a demon who has ascended to the sex court, to supervise the détente and the 3 Dragon Kings. Gongbao is unexpectedly reunited with his younger brother, who tells him of the sect's siege and plunder of the Shin family's village, including Ne Zha's battle against the master, who is their father. While the sect prepares for the next trial, Chuntang Pass is massacred by the dragons. Enraged, Ne Zha defeats the 3rd trial without Ao Bing's help, and Wuliang elevates him to Xian and gives him the potion. After Tai reforms Ao Bing's body, Ne Zha leaves them to join Wuliang's forces in trapping the dragons in the Bagua Cauldron, where they are to be forged into immortality pills as vengeance for his parents' deaths. Ne Zha's parents arrive at the cauldron unharmed with Tai and Ao Bing to explain the truth behind Chuntang Pass destruction. In a flashback, Gongbao deduces Wuliang's role in the siege, only for the three Dragon Kings to betray their kind to join Wuliang. They massacre the townspeople and frame Ao Guang as casus belli to ensure the destruction of all other powerful forces. Gong Bao takes a last stand to defend the city against the commanders, buying enough time to arrange for Ne Zha's parents' survival. The two parties battle and Wuliang casts Ne Zha and his group into the cauldron. Although everyone uses their qi to shield themselves from the cauldron's heat, Ne Zha's mother dies in his arms and is transformed into an immortality pill. Enraged, Ne Zha absorbs the cauldron's samadhi fire to fully complete his body. With the help of the dragons and prisoners, he breaks open the cauldron's lid, and they fight the heavenly forces, forcing them to retreat. In the aftermath, Ao Guang leads the remaining dragons into hiding in the sea, with the exception of Ao Bing, who stays behind to help Ne Zha expose Wuliang's nature. In a post-credit scene, Wuliang heads to a secret prison to negotiate with the captive Shen Gongbao and Shen's father, while Ne Zha's older Xian brothers are summoned to meet with Wuliang. Voice cast Mandarin Chinese. * Lu Yanting as the child Ne Zha, son of Li Jing and Lady Yin. * Joseph Chow as the adolescent Ne Zha. * Han Mo as Ao Bing, the Dragon King's third son. * Lu Qi as Lady Yin, Ne Zha's mother and the chiefess who governs Chuntang Pass with her husband. Zhang Jiaming as Tai Zhenren, Ne Zha's master, a Taoist Xian who lives on the Kunlun. Wang Deshun as Master Xian Wuliang. Yu Chun as Ao Guang in human form. Li Nan as Ao Guang, the Dragon King of the East Sea. Zhou Yongxi as Ao Run, the Dragon King of the West Sea. Yang Wei as Shen Gongbao, Tai's martial brother and Ao Bing's master. Production. Shortly after the release of Ne Zha, 2019, the production team intended to develop a sequel. Director Jiaozi confirmed that this is indeed the case, and that it would depend on the first film's box office performance. After the success of Ne Zha, the sequel was put into production. The sequel is called Ne Zha, The Demon Boy Havoc in the Sea, or Ne Zha 2 in English, and the cost increased to 600 million yuan, breaking the 200 million yuan record of Deep Sea, 2023, to become China's most expensive animated film. Ne Zha and Ne Zha 2 both took 5 years to produce. More than 4,000 people across 138 animation companies participated in the creation of the film, more than double the 1,600 people in the first film. Producer Lu Wenzhong said that the number of characters in this film is 3 times that of the previous film. The previous film had more than 1,800 shots, while this film has more than 2,400 shots, including more than 1,900 special effects shots. Critical response. Ne Zha 2 has received positive reviews. Dubon Movies scored the film 8.5/10, and the film also had an average rating of 9.7 out of 10 on Maoyan and 9.8 out of 10 on Teopiopio. Red Star News praised its special effects, script, and concept, and said that the film uses a solid script and accurate expression of values, proving that respect for the audience is the real box office password. Shangguan News praised the film for continuing the style and rhythm of the previous film, and the further improvement of the battle and special effects scenes, but criticized the lack of suspense in the plot. Feng Ji, the founder of Game Science, also reviewed it positively. 22. Box office. Edit. In 3 days after its release in China, the film's box office reached 1.1 billion yuan, which became the first movie to reach 1 billion yuan, $137 million in box office during the Chinese New Year in 2025. On the 4th day of release, the box office exceeded 2 billion yuan. On the 5th day of release, it exceeded 3 billion yuan. It exceeded 4 billion yuan on only the 6th day of release, entering the top 10 in film history. At the same time, it broke the record for the fastest time to break 4 billion yuan set by Detective Chinatown 3 in 2021. It took 9 days and 9 hours. The box office exceeded 5,684 million on the 8th day of release, breaking the record of breaking 5 billion set by The Battle at Lake Changjin, the box office champion in mainland China in 2021. It took 19 days and 9 hours, and surpassed the total box office of the first Ne Zha film, becoming the highest-grossing animated film in mainland China. The Ne Zha film series also became the second film series to exceed 10 billion yuan, $1.37 billion US, with just 2 movies, and the box office exceeded 6 billion on the 9th day of release. After the film was released, its box office continued to rise due to its excellent word of mouth. Many took to social media to voice that it was hard to even get a ticket, and many users took to the producer's social media to call for more showings to be scheduled to meet the audience's viewing needs. In some places, there were even rare phenomena such as midnight showings being completely full. Due to the film's box office performance, the film's producer and distributor, Enlight Media, saw its shares rise by the daily limit after the Chinese New Year. As of February 8, 2025, the box office has exceeded 7.2 billion yuan, ranking first in the Chinese New Year period, surpassing Wolf Warrior 2, 2017, and The Battle at Lake Changjin, 2021, to become the highest-grossing Chinese film of all time. On February 8, the box office exceeded 7 billion yuan, $958 million US, becoming the 63rd film to cross the 7 billion yuan mark worldwide, and the first non-Hollywood film to do so. It also surpassed the single-territory box office record of $936.7 million US set by Star Wars: The Force Awakens, 2015, 11 days into its release. On February 13th, the film had earned over 10 billion yuan, $1.37 billion US, surpassing the gross of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, 2023, and became the 4th highest-grossing animated film. Internationally, the film saw similar box office success, with particular popularity among the Chinese diaspora in various countries. At its premiere in Los Angeles on February 12th, the Grauman's Chinese theater sold out of tickets immediately upon release. The film grossed $7.2 million in its opening weekend in the United States, compared with its predecessor's $1.2 million opening weekend there. Merchandise. Due to the film's success, official merchandises and toys associated with the film also became best-selling across stores in China. It was reported that many products are completely sold out. 2 weeks into the film's release, sales of Ne Zha branded merchandise exceeded 50 million yuan, $6.8 million US, on Taobao. Reviewing 2019, the kid-friendly Chinese animated fantasy Ne Zha, about the enemies-to-friends relationship between a bratty preteen demon and a regal dragon prince, quickly established itself as the country's most financially successful animated movie. Some imitators and a spin-off followed, none of which featured the same winning combination of juvenile humor, spectacular action, and character-driven drama. This year, Ne Zha 2 dominated China's typically competitive Lunar New Year weekend and is now the mainland's highest-grossing movie of all time. It's playing a few dozen times per day here in New York City, and my audience at yesterday afternoon's Times Square matinee was very responsive. I can see why. This new sequel, about feuding dragons, gods, humans, and ocean-dwelling monsters, boasts much of the same qualities that made the first Ne Zha so charming, particularly its focus on protagonists' motivating emotions. Ne Zha 2 is a rare sequel that amplifies both its action and drama without sacrificing much of what already worked in the last movie. It's also a rare blockbuster that offers something worthwhile for a wide-ranging audience. Focusing on and cultivating the human emotions at the heart of Ne Zha 2 is no mean feat given its sprawling source material, the 2-volume mythological adventure The Investiture of the Gods. As with the many Journey to the West adaptations that preceded it, this and a handful of other riffs on The Investiture of the Gods, including the recent Creation of the Gods 2, Demon Force, feature dozens of main and supporting characters, most of whom are united by convoluted backstories and Byzantine social hierarchies. Thankfully, it's not hard to follow or get drawn in by the exploits of the crass demon child Ne Zha, Yanting Lu, and his noble dragon Prince Buddy Ao Bing, Mo Han. It might, admittedly, still help to have seen Ne Zha before watching Ne Zha 2. Though you can probably still get the gist of what's happening, even if you haven't. Everybody's recovering from Ne Zha at the start of Ne Zha 2. Deep breath in. A battle is waged between the brave human residents of Chuntang Pass and the dragon rulers of the Four Seas, though it stops quickly enough. Ne Zha's human parents, Lady Yin, Qi Lu, and Li Jing, Hao Chen, try to keep the peace while their boy flies off to Yuzu Palace so that he can become an immortal, which will in turn give him access to a magical elixir that will restore Ao Bing to full health after the last movie's events. Long breath out. Unfortunately, not much about Ne Zha has otherwise changed since Ne Zha. He's still a lonely and wildly immature kid who doesn't know his own strength and only wants to play shuttlecock with his parents. Ao Bing means the world to Ne Zha, partly because they're two halves of the same supernatural entity, the Chaos Pearl, but mostly because they bonded during the last movie. Together, they uncover a conspiracy that pits the belligerent and inconstant Dragon Kings and Queen against the benevolent-seeming Chan sect immortals of Yuzu Palace, mostly represented by baby-faced beardo god Wuliang, Deshun Wang. Writer-director Yu Yang, who returns after the first Ne Zha, keeps this sequel grounded by threading in little moments that credibly remind us how important family is for not just Ne Zha and Ao Bing, but also their voluminous Rolodex of friends and foes. Even side characters like the surly demon Shang Gongbao, Wei Yang, have a moment or two that reveals their defining need to either protect or please their loved ones. That means a lot in a mythological action-adventure that runs on giant-sized battle and action scenes as well as a number of pee, poop, and puke jokes, too. Ne Zha's still a growing boy, after all. The potty humor is consistently outlandish, if not always laugh-aloud funny. And while some subplots aren't as consistently well-developed as you might wish them to be, the action scenes remain a great showcase for both the animation team and you, too, since they're focused on both moment-to-moment and character-revealing details. Even the goofiest-looking creatures. I'm fond of the beefy-looking, trident-wielding shark, move with a cartoon physics grace and integrity that makes this big-budget cartoon look like it was designed by its animators instead of assembled by a creative committee. Everything may look bigger in Ne Zha too, but it's still a fleet, eager-to-please kids movie about a gap-toothed demon boy who wonders if immortals poop whenever he's not tearing the heavens open with his bare hands. Another sequel will follow. Hopefully it will also deliver more of the same. Ne Zha 2 features a combat sequence that has to be seen to be believed. The Chinese movie, which recently passed the $1.5 billion mark at the box office to become the biggest international animated hit of all time, is built around shows of immense power, leading up to a conflict between godlike forces and their armies. Thousands of white-clad martial arts warriors, cloaked in glowing golden bubbles of energy, pile atop each other on a vastly branching magical staff to form what looks like a beautiful mountaintop tree in autumn. Energy-breathing dragons zip around blasting all resistance, as two avatars of godly power band together into an irresistible force. It's breathtaking. On a big screen, it's almost overwhelming. The same movie also features a sequence where a visually impaired elderly man mistakes the giant pink ass of a flying pig for a person's face, and keeps trying to speak to it while the pig repeatedly farts clouds of bilious green gas into his open mouth. That's the basic dynamic of both 2019's Ne Zha and the 2025 sequel, which divide their energy between epic combat and the most lowbrow humor you can imagine. There are booger jokes and poop jokes. A boy gulps down a cauldron of disgusting stew, vomits it all up, then drinks the resulting vomit. A number of sophisticated elites wind up delicately sipping glasses of urine-infused water. For American audiences, body humor gags in animated movies are nothing new. Shrek in particular leans into tee-hee, I farted in the bath humor, but it's still a bit of a shock how far Ne Zha 2 goes in pushing the envelope of gross-out gags. That's especially true given the powerful emotions at play in other parts of the movie and the overall focus on world-rending battles. Ne Zha 2 revolves heavily around characters' emotional bonds with their friends and family, and around the fear of hurting or disappointing loved ones, or losing them altogether. Major and minor characters alike see horrific things happen to the people they love. Grief, anger, hope, and need all play significant parts in the story, and drive tremendous battles between tremendous powers. With Ne Zha 2, writer-director Zhao Zi picks up almost exactly where he left off with Ne Zha in 2019. The mystical artifact known as the Chaos Pearl split into two parts, incarnated as powerful entities. The crude demon boy Ne Zha and the elegant dragon warrior Ao Bing. Both are characters from Chinese mythology that have been reimagined countless times in Chinese entertainment. In Ne Zha, these two become unlikely friends, and unite to save Ne Zha from a powerful curse that ultimately destroys their bodies. Ne Zha 2 opens with endlessly bumbling warrior priest Tai, making them fragile new bodies out of lotus paste, which will need to be tempered before it can withstand the immense powers they both wield. Before that can happen, Ao Bing sacrifices himself again to save Ne Zha's hometown, Chuntang Pass, from an attack by Tai's former brother-in-arms Shen Gongbao. Shun's attack comes at the behest of 3 dragons scheming against the powerful Dragon King of the Eastern Sea, who only wants to save his son, Ao Bing. Ne Zha accepts Ao Bing's spirit into his body and undertakes a series of trials to resurrect a powerful artifact that could fully revive his friend. There are many, many different threads at play in this sequel. While it's more narratively sophisticated and visually ambitious than Ne Zha, which already had plenty of both those elements, it's still worth starting with the previous film. Ne Zha offers a lot of necessary background to understand how its 2 central embodied artifacts relate to each other, to the dragons chained deep under the earth, and to the godlike powers that confine those dragons. It's also a route to understanding Shen Gongbao, who spends the movie veering between Disney-esque cartoon villain, respectful and righteous servant, the butt of comedy slapstick, and dutiful family man. But the political drama, particularly between the dragons and their powerful overlords, still takes a back seat to the movie's visual spectacle, which ramps up considerably from Ne Zha, as more and more powerful entities enter the story. That leaves Ne Zha himself in a less central role, as he's caught up in conflicts far beyond his awareness. Ne Zha has changed a fair bit since the first movie, where he's a sullen, mischievous, superpowered brat who violently resents any attempt to contain his power. There are still traces of that personality in play. This is recognizably the same character, especially when he's frustrated with the many officious adults around him. He clearly carries the weight of what he endured and learned in the previous movie. But as the stakes keep rising in Ne Zha 2, there's less and less room for him to act out, and more ways he needs to step up. By the end of the movie, which includes several open threads designed to set up a 3rd installment in the series, he's less of a point-of-view character and more a single element in a complicated, many-sided conflict. That conflict plays out via martial arts sparring and blasts of fire, ice and lightning, with magic powers and shape-shifting and a glowing army, with wars of words and literal wars, with off-color gags and shouted declarations of vengeance and fury. It's a lot to take in, but it's joyously and creatively rendered. A fantasy epic brought to life in vivid color and with all the visual creativity a fantasy fan could want. Puke jokes aside, it's an experience best had on the largest screen possible. This is an epic-sized tale designed for an epic-sized screen, and apparently, in spite of its deep ties to the ingrained myths of its home culture, it's a movie designed for a world-sized audience. Ne Zha 2 has already joined the list of the top 10 all-time biggest worldwide box office hits, and at its current rate of earnings, it may soon surpass Star Wars, The Force Awakens, and Avengers: Infinity War. That's an impressive record for a film that at one point literally turns both its leads into poop emoji-shaped blobs of goo. Ne Zha 2 is currently in limited release in American theaters. Ne Zha can be watched free on the ad-supported platforms Rakuten Viki and the Roku channel. It's also free with a library card from a subscribing library on Hoopla and Canopy. It's available via rental or purchase on Amazon, Fandango, and other digital platforms. If you only focus on Hollywood box office trends, you're likely trying to figure out how much money Captain America: Brave New World will make and not paying attention to the juggernaut that is Ne Zha 2. The chances of you having heard of the latter are low, but you should be aware of it. Not only is it on track to become the highest-grossing animated film of all time, but it is so far the only movie to have made $1 billion in a single country, beating a $936 million record previously held by Star Wars: The Force Awakens in the United States. As of this writing, Ne Zha 2 is on track to make over $2 billion at the worldwide box office and has reached its first milestone in 11 days during the Chinese New Year holiday period. At the same time when Wuxian's creation of the Gods 2, Demon Force continued to visualize the animated film's titular character in live action. Adaptations of the investiture of the gods and Journey to the West aren't new in mainland China and Hong Kong. Chang Che took many liberties with his Ne Zha the Great in 1974, for example. Still, The Jiaozi-directed animated transposition of Ne Zha in 2019 was a remarkable high point in visualizing the character in ways that hadn't been previously thought possible. Utilizing 3D animation to create a sprawling epic that opened the floodgates for an eventual expansion through various feature films exploring one of the most potent mythological stories in Chinese history. In 2023, wasNe gave Ne Zha the definitive live-action treatment with creation of the God's Eye, Kingdom of Storms, but he is not the main character of this planned trilogy and is relegated as a sidekick, even if an action sequence that showcases his powers is one of the film's very best. The 2019 animated movie was so commercially successful that a dull spin-off set in the same universe, focusing on Jiangxia, was released the following year. Several knockoff animated efforts unrelated to the 2019 film attempted to recapture the same success of Jiaozi's movie, but failed to instill any sort of perennity within audiences in its home country and abroad. When I saw the first Ne Zha in IMAX 3D in 2019 as a Westerner, I enjoyed its show-stopping visuals and the great message at the heart of the movie that encouraged children to be who they are and accept their individuality as a gift and not a curse. However, the character's significance in China remained a mystery until I saw wasNe's adaptation of Su Zhonglin's investiture of the gods a few years later and realized his importance in Chinese mythology. That's why I was slightly shocked that, not even a minute after IMAX tickets were on sale for a one-night-only early access screening, the entire auditorium sold out for the sequel and is now outpacing Captain America's ticket sales at my local venue in record time. Having enjoyed the first film without much caring for its spin-off, I couldn't imagine how this sequel would blow it out of the water, despite the massive amount of money it's currently making in Chinese cinemas and, finally, abroad. Curiosity got the better of me, and here I was, sitting in a sold-out theater on a Saturday afternoon, about to witness what will become the highest-grossing animated film in history in just a few days. After seeing it, not only does Ne Zha 2 massively improve upon the original's flaws, notably regarding its protagonist, but its animation is so staggeringly jaw-dropping that it may as well be positioned as one of the medium's greatest-ever technical achievements, with visuals so potent it will take any audience member's breath away. Picking up right after the first installment left off, Ne Zha Lu Yanting and Ao Bing, Han and Mo, are about to have their bodies restored by Master Tai Zhang. But when Ao Bing's body destroys itself before his soul can fully inhabit it, the Master tells him that he should share Ne Zha's body for a period of 7 days if they complete Master Wu Yang's Deshun Wang Ascension trials. Should they be successful, they will have their bodies fully restored and gain immortality. For some time, Ne Zha 2 treads in simplicity as the titular character completes the different trials Wu Yang has set out for him. Occasionally bathing in gross-out juvenile humor, the movie loses momentum whenever any joke overstays its welcome, such as one action set-piece set around Ne Zha gaining strength by drinking his own vomit and proceeding to throw up some more. It's an acquired taste, but the small kids in the packed auditorium did laugh out loud. I didn't think it was particularly funny or creative, but that was a frequent issue with the first installment, too. It was, at times, too juvenile, while a few years later, wasNe found the perfect balance between humanism and childishness with his take on Ne Zha in Creation of the Gods. However, Ne Zha accidentally mixing his urine with Wu Yang's holy water was very funny. No one is impervious to the contagious energy and childish humor emanating from this picture. If one joke doesn't get you, the other one most definitely will. What makes the first half of Ne Zha 2 so compelling, however, isn't necessarily its protagonist, who doesn't evolve much from the first movie to the sequel, up until a pivotal turn, but how each trial utilizes a bevy of powers that will all eventually coalesce during its thrilling climax, all differently treated through various generic conventions. The first trial is more comedic in nature, and its action scene has way more slapstick than the others, serving the small kids in the audience, it seems. The second trial has heightened stakes and is more martial arts coded than the third, a final battle to end all final battles, unashamedly blowing the portals scene from Avengers Endgame, where the movie's dramatic crux reaches its emotional apex. All of them are thrillingly designed, with a sense of scale so huge it can virtually put every single Hollywood animated motion picture to shame. Each action scene tops the last, with colors and depth of field so stark it almost feels unreal that such a production could ever produce images of this nature. Of course, as with wasNe's Creation of the Gods, Each modern iteration of the investiture of the gods tips the hat to large-scale epics such as The Lord of the Rings. Ne Zha 2's opening battle that sets the story up in motion does feel eerily similar to the Helm's Deep siege from the Two Towers, though with more otherworldly characters and mythologically charged imagery. It's only when the 144-minute-long film reaches its final confrontation between the multiple heroes and antagonists that it becomes way more emotional and intimate than its first part led on, with a twist repurposing the entirety of the story and making its stakes feel way more personal than they already were. Without spoiling a single thing, the emotional textures Yuze gives to the animation, shifting from computer-generated 3D to 2D during a pivotal moment, will make you gasp in excitement, unable to process how historical this picture is for the medium and how it's evolving animated cinema forward in ways that some of its strongest supporters dreamed of seeing. It'll then be hard to hold back tears when Ne Zha's parents, Lady Yin, Qi Lu, and Li Jing, Hao Chen, join in on the fight and do something that makes the protagonist feel his humanity so deeply that he'll never forget it. One could even hear sniffles in every corner of the room, where, at a critical turn, the large-scale canvas of its animation suddenly diminishes, and a real sense of proximity is felt with the characters, who are all given the right emotional tonalities by its main cast. When Ne Zha's transformation is complete and he finally reveals his full self to the audience, what happens next can't be described in words but begs to be experienced on your own. The work of transposing such an ambitious world through animation deserves the praise it has been getting, and perhaps even more than what critics have been lauding for the past few weeks in China. Simply put, Ne Zha 2 contains some of the most wondrously astonishing visuals of any modern animated offering, and maybe ever. What Yuze puts on screen is so ambitiously epic and emotionally soul-stirring that, regardless of whether you have difficulty attaching yourself to a story that's steeped heavily in myth-making, you're ultimately won over by how each emotional note is fed through its animation. There isn't a single stone left unturned in attempting to make this the most beautiful animated movie ever made, whether in its death-defying action, colorful characters, or comedy, which retains the juvenile spirit of the titular protagonist in smaller hit-or-miss doses than the first. Perhaps Western audiences who aren't familiar with the investiture of the gods may be lost in its introduction of side characters via text who are never seen again, and how it lays the foundation of many fragmented moving parts that will undoubtedly have a role in a planned third installment, but it never feels convoluted or overcomplicated for the uninitiated to dismiss it. As expected, Ne Zha 2's end credits tell us to remain seated for a fairly long stinger, teasing that his adventures are far from over and will likely continue for years to come. If a $2 billion worldwide box office cum is any indicator, we may get 15 more of these, either focusing on the character itself or on different figures from the investiture of the gods. Because Zhonglin's text is so dense and contains 1,000 different thematic underpinnings and storylines you can extract from each individual player, the possibilities are endless. Whatever they have in store, this franchise could go down in history as one that pushed animation in corners no one imagined and breathed new life in a medium frequently labeled as children's entertainment. If anything, Ne Zha 2 is an excellent reminder to anyone that animation is cinema, and for everyone. Chinese box office phenom Ne Zha 2 begins with a helpful recap for new viewers, and those already familiar with the franchise, to keep track of the elaborate tale. The animated sequel, which has been on a record-breaking spree since releasing in China during the Lunar New Year holiday and reaches North America today, expands on the characters and mythology of the 2019 hit film. Demon Orb Ne Zha, voiced by Joseph, and Spirit Orb Aobing, Mo Han, died at the end of the previous Ne Zha, or at least their physical bodies did. As the sequel begins, Master Immortal Tai, Zhang, constructs new bodies for them out of the sacred lotus. Unfortunately, Aobing perishes before his soul can settle in, but Tai has an idea. Both Ne Zha and Aobing can share Ne Zha's body for 7 days. If they can complete Master Wuliang's, Deshun Wang, ascension trials, they'll win a magic potion that can restore the sacred lotus and make a new form for Aobing. The shared corpus leads to some sequences reminiscent of Steve Martin in All of Me as Ne Zha and Aobing struggle to work out control at first. They learn to switch, and when Aobing takes over, Ne Zha's form changes. As Ne Zha, his wide eyes often bulge in different directions. As Aobing, Ne Zha's body softens and exhibits firm posture and more controlled movements. It's a shame this doesn't occur more often in the movie, since it's among the film's most captivating instances of magic. Because Ne Zha is on a quest, he leaves his parents behind. They were such significant characters in the first film. It's too bad they don't have more to do here. The animation, which involves human, animal, and dragon forms, does not quite achieve Pixar-level elegance, but it more than holds its own. The rendering of martial arts battles is as graceful as DreamWorks Animation's Kung Fu Panda series. The myriad creatures should appeal to international fans of fantasy epics like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings. The sea dragons return from Ne Zha 1, long and flowing creatures like the kinds referenced in traditional Chinese dragon dances as opposed to the winged monsters of American fantasy. Creatures participate in battle scenes, such as an octopus man whose tentacles regenerate when cut off. Ne Zha's third trial introduces the memorable creature Lady Shiji, a cross between Snow White's Wicked Queen asking a mirror who is the fairest, and Medusa as she becomes a stone monster Ne Zha fights. The film gets a little too busy with all of the additional plotting outside of Ne Zha's quest and trials. To the movie's credit, writer-director Yuze names all of the characters on screen and identifies locations and significant objects to help viewers follow along in any language. But Ne Zha's hometown of Shentanguan still battles dragons, as 4 of their kings work with Aobing's father, and celestial gods get involved, too. The sequel does not deal with time passing at different rates between the physical and heavenly realm as the 2019 movie did, and there is exponentially more mythology added to Ne Zha's story here. Once Ne Zha's trials are completed, there are still more battles and complications to restoring his and Aobing's souls to separate bodies, let alone the states of Shentanguan, the sea dragon's nefarious plot, and further conspiracies introduced late in the film. Though always visually engaging, resolving all of this plot takes more than 2 hours and can feel exhausting. There are mid-credits scenes setting up further adventures of Ne Zha. In the first film, he learned the truth about his origin, and in Ne Zha 2 he truly grows up. With the success of the sequel in China, a third film seems inevitable, with the potential to expand further. Release date: Friday, February 14th, 2025, US. I'm pretty confident in saying that this is most likely the first time most of you, if not all of you reading this review, have ever even heard of the movie Ne Zha, let alone aware that a sequel just got released in American theaters. My fandom towards Ne Zha started unexpectedly in September 2019. I was seeing a different movie, I can't remember which, and I saw a giant IMAX poster for an animated movie that I had ever heard of called Ne Zha. It was advertised in IMAX 3D, ND, and me being a massive fan of 3, I had to check it out. I saw no trailer or anything for it. I only had the poster to go off of NDD, and then I finished watching it. I walked out of that auditorium as a brand new fan of the film. The animation was great, the story was engaging, the comedy was humorous, and it had a lot of heart. And now here, we are a little over 5 years later, and we have a sequel that I personally have been anticipating, Ne Zha 2. So, how this new sequel? For some context, the movie is about Chinese folklore and is about a boy named Ne Zha who was inadvertently born of a source of demon energy, known as the demon pill that was split from the spirit pearl that together created the chaos pearl. Feared and hated by all due to his chaotic antics, except for his parents, mentor, and newfound friend Aobing. Ne Zha attempts to defy his fate and strive to become the hero instead of a monster despite everything being stacked against him. The sequel picks up almost immediately where the first film leaves off, so watching the first movie is a must before watching the second one. As I mentioned earlier, I was already a fan going into the second film. I even went dressed up as my own version of the title character, which is met with many compliments. And I can honestly say that I believe Ne Zha 2 is even better than Ne Zha 1. This sequel really expanded the story of the first and made everything even more grand and epic in scale. They even gave certain reprised characters more fascinating character development from the first movie. It was truly a wonderful sight to behold. Speaking of wonderful sights, the animation in Ne Zha 2 has greatly improved over the first one. Not that the animation in Ne Zha 1 was bad at all. The animation in the first film was actually pretty good, but over the course of 5 years, the animators really improved on it. The movie displayed so many vibrant colors and details on not just the backgrounds and set touches, but on the characters that look really refined from the first film. It really makes me wish that I could have experienced this sequel in IMAX, which unfortunately was only available for a single day in which I chose the 4DX experience. This movie also provides a lot of action and humor throughout. The action in this movie is top-notch. The fight scene was very engaging and exciting, and I am astonished when I say that there are a lot of fight scenes. As the movie goes on, each fight scene greatly improves over the last, leading up to a finale that doesn't let up. In addition to the action, the humor in this movie really had me laughing out loud. From verbal jokes to slapstick comedy and a lot of visual gags, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't funny. And just like the first movie, this sequel also provides heart. So much so that I was in tears watching this movie. ND, and no, I wasn't the only one. I heard the sniffles throughout my auditorium. Overall, you can tell that the makers behind this movie really cared about the story they were telling. They went above and beyond to create something very special with Ne Zha 2. And I can easily say without hesitation that they have greatly succeeded. At the time of me writing this review, I have already seen the movie twice. That's how good it is, in my opinion. This movie clocks in at around 2 hours and 23 minutes, which is a little over 30 minutes longer than the first one, and during that time twice, I can say that I was never bored watching it. There's still a lot of the Chinese lore that I need to catch up on, but as someone who has watched the movies without knowing any of the lore beforehand, you will not be lost or confused watching it. I certainly wasn't. I only took in what the story of the movie gave me, ND, and was perfectly fine. I know it's difficult to convince most people to watch a movie with subtitles these days, but I'm telling you that these movies are definitely worth it. I highly recommend seeking out the first Ne Zha movie. Last I checked, you can buy it on Amazon Prime or Fandango at home for only $8 or rent it for less. And then go to your local theater and watch Ne Zha 2 on the big screen. The movie has already crossed over $1 billion in the Chinese box office alone. I don't want to hype it up too much, but I truly believe that this movie deserves all of the recognition and praise and box office revenue that it's getting. If you haven't heard of Ne Zha, you will probably hear about it very soon. Over in its native China, Ne Zha, and more specifically its sequel, has become something of a pop culture phenomenon, breaking records of all kinds and becoming the first film to make over $1 billion in a single market, and still going. The Chinese film market has been something of the golden goose for not just Hollywood but studios in general, and while this has somewhat lessened over the years post-COVID, there is still the sentiment that if you make it in China, you've made it everywhere. I'll be frank, my knowledge of Chinese mythology is mostly Journey to the West and the occasional wuxia film that is based on it. As such, judging Ne Zha 2 on whether or not it's accurate to the original source, which is very likely isn't, is pointless. It also probably means, as a white Westerner, I'm coming at this through the lens of a complete outsider, a world that is literally and figuratively foreign to my own, viewing it through a lens that unfortunately will likely never quite grasp cultural complexities that can only really be understood by those from said culture. So I mean it when I say that Ne Zha 2, from its childlike glee in the first half to its epic, grand scale in the second that resembles the old tales of gods and demons duking it out, is one of the most visually stunning pieces of animation ever released in a cinema. Almost immediately, its eye-popping visuals bleed over the screen with a fury, never letting up for its 144-minute runtime, and only gets more and more impressive as time goes on. The sheer scale of the picture has to be seen to be believed. Lord of the Rings somehow feels small compared to some of the moments in this. And when you think it's somehow getting as big as it can get, it gets even bigger, thanks to a climax so audacious and huge that it threatens to overtake the entire movie screen. Spectacle really is the name of the game for Ne Zha 2, which you can feel shedding off some of the more rougher edges of its original film as it goes. Some of the shades are still there, those who aren't huge on the gross-out humor of the first film will probably cringe at some of the jokes in the first half of this. But it reaches its second half, all that jank has been shed, and you can almost see the sigh of relief on screen as Ne Zha 2 becomes basically a near-flawless version of itself in real time. Said spectacle ranges from the intimate one-on-one fight scene that has choreography rivaling the best of live-action fare, to fantasy moments so creative that it's difficult to put into words. I know I keep harping on the visual design here, but it's really the standout thing here. Ne Zha 2 does a lot right beyond that, for sure. It's a story about parents and children coming to terms with the inevitability of one of them having to part ways at some point, as well as rebelling against the hands that the world has seemingly dealt for you. But the way a story is told is arguably just as important as the story itself. And if anything, Ne Zha 2 makes a grand case for the idea of visual storytelling over anything else. The big emotions work cause everything else around it is just as big. The small emotions work cause the little moments are treated with the same care. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not Ne Zha 2 ends up blowing up in North America like it did in its native country. There is a world where it does, and personally I hope I live in it because it absolutely deserves to. It's not just a great sequel that successfully continues and actively improves on its predecessor, but it's just a great animated film, a great action film, a fantastic fantasy film, and a stellar spectacle film all in one. Basically a must-watch for anybody who wants an excuse to go to the cinema. A perfect big screen outing, warts and all. Ne Zha, 2019, introduces us to the gremlin that is Ne Zha. He's a little scamp, but the judgment from those around him sends him on a downward spiral. Fortunately, by the end of the first film, he learns to accept himself and not let those around him put him in a box. Ne Zha 2 picks up where the first film ended. At the end of Ne Zha and Ao Bing's fight against Heavenly Lightning, the pair find themselves without bodies. As Tai Junren crafts the duo's new bodies, Shin Gongbao colludes with Ao Guang and the imprisoned 4 Dragon Kings to avenge the assumed dead Ao Bing. The 4 Dragon Kings attack them, but the recently reborn Ao Bing defends Ne Zha's still-forming body. After taking the attack, Ao Bing becomes a ghost again. To prevent him from dying, Ne Zha allows Ao Bing to cohabit his body as they make their way to Master Wuliang and take part in his ascension challenges to obtain an elixir that will allow Tai to forge Ao Bing a new body. The journey soon becomes complicated, and the duo find themselves in the middle of chaos. Perfect for the entire family. Great comedy, amazing action sequences, a good story, and beautiful animation makes Ne Zha 2 a great film for everyone in the family. The comedy is a mix of slapstick, sarcasm, and some cringe. Jiaozi and his team have a gift for flowing between comedy and action during fight scenes. One moment Ne Zha could be in the middle of an intense fight. Next thing I know he's puking his guts out in a cauldron of soup before going back into the fight. The dialogue is full of sarcasm, especially from Tai, who is a pleasure to see on screen. The character of Ne Zha is inspired by a deity from Chinese mythology, who is often depicted as a rebellious and powerful figure. In the original myth, Ne Zha is born under unusual circumstances and has to fight against both gods and demons to prove his worth. This mythology is woven throughout Ne Zha 2, which draws on traditional tales and integrates them with modern storytelling techniques. The film explores themes of fate, destiny, and free will, as Ne Zha grapples with his role in the cosmic order. This clash between personal freedom and the weight of destiny is a central tension in the movie, which elevates the story from a typical hero's journey to a more complex philosophical exploration. The cultural and global impact of Ne Zha 2. Box office performance. Ne Zha 2 has made an enormous impact at the global box office, grossing over $1.7 billion, which makes it the highest-grossing animated film of all time. This box office success is remarkable for several reasons. First, it marks a massive achievement for Chinese cinema, as it is the first animated film from China to cross the $1 billion threshold. This puts it in the same league as major Hollywood animated films like Disney's Frozen 2 and Toy Story 4, making it a significant milestone for Chinese animation on the global stage. Its success has also outperformed major global animated films, including Inside Out 2 from Pixar, which previously held the record. This is seen as a significant turning point in the international film industry, showing that animated films from non-English-speaking countries can dominate the global box office. Cultural significance. In China, Ne Zha 2 holds a special place in the cultural landscape. The first film, Ne Zha, was a revolutionary moment in Chinese cinema, offering an animated film that blended traditional Chinese mythology with modern storytelling and animation techniques. The success of the sequel has only strengthened this legacy, and the film's blend of humor, action, and visual grandeur has made it a cultural touchstone for the new generation of Chinese audiences. At the same time, the movie's international success has exposed global audiences to Chinese mythology and culture in a more accessible way. The blend of ancient folklore with modern animation techniques creates an opportunity for viewers from around the world to experience Chinese mythology in a way that resonates universally. Critical reception. Ne Zha 2 has been praised for its stunning animation and complex character development. Critics have described it as a visual extravaganza, with a level of detail in the animation that is rarely seen in animated films. The movie's epic battles are frequently highlighted as some of the most exciting sequences in modern animation, thanks to their innovative use of CGI and traditional Chinese art styles. Critics also note the film's ability to blend humor and serious themes. The inclusion of quirky moments, such as fart jokes and slapstick humor, adds a lighthearted touch to the film, making it accessible to younger audiences while still maintaining a degree of emotional depth for older viewers. This combination of elements contributes to the film's wide appeal across age groups and cultural backgrounds. While the visuals and action scenes have been universally lauded, some critics point out that the plot can feel a bit familiar at times. However, the film's deep emotional core and exploration of Ne Zha's journey towards self-acceptance more than make up for any narrative cliches. Overall, the film has been received positively, with many calling it a landmark achievement in animated filmmaking. Future of the Ne Zha franchise. The success of Ne Zha 2 has paved the way for future films in the franchise. There are already discussions about a potential third installment, and with the character's popularity growing both in China and globally, it is likely that Ne Zha will continue to be a significant figure in animated cinema. The franchise's ability to blend action, humor, and mythology, while pushing the limits of animation, makes it one of the most exciting animated properties in recent years. Additionally, the global success of Ne Zha 2 suggests that Chinese animation is beginning to take its place alongside major Western animation studios, offering fresh perspectives and stories to international audiences. Conclusion. Ne Zha 2 is not just an animated film. It's a cultural phenomenon that marks a milestone in both Chinese cinema and global animation. With its breathtaking visuals, intricate mythology, and compelling characters, it is a triumph of storytelling that has captured the hearts of millions. Whether you're a fan of animation, mythology, or epic adventure, Ne Zha 2 is a must-watch film that showcases the potential of animated films to transcend language and cultural barriers. Box office analysis of Ne Zha 2, 2025. The global box office has witnessed a remarkable shift in recent years, with several non-English language films making their mark. One of the standout successes in the animated film category is Ne Zha 2, 2025, which has not only captivated audiences in China but also taken the international market by storm. The movie's box office performance is not just a reflection of its broad appeal but also an indicator of how animated films can transcend cultural boundaries, appealing to a wide range of global viewers. In this article, we will explore in depth the box office performance of Ne Zha 2, its financial success, its global reception, and how it compares to other animated films in history. We will also look at the factors that contributed to its record-breaking success, analyze its impact on the industry, and discuss what the future might hold for animated films from China. The box office performance of Ne Zha 2, 2025. When Ne Zha 2 premiered on January 29, 2025, it immediately caused a stir at the global box office. The film's release coincided with the Chinese New Year, a period traditionally known for blockbuster film releases in China. However, what set this film apart was its astounding financial success, not only in its home country but also abroad. As of February 2025, the film had grossed an impressive over $1.7 billion worldwide, solidifying its place as the highest-grossing animated film of all time. Breaking records. One of the most notable achievements of Ne Zha 2 is that it surpassed Disney's Inside Out 2, 2024, which had previously held the record for the highest-grossing animated film. Ne Zha 2 also broke another significant barrier. It became the first non-English language animated film to ever cross the $1 billion mark at the global box office, an unprecedented achievement for Chinese cinema and animated films outside of the Western animation industry. The movie's financial success is noteworthy in several respects. 1. Opening weekend. The film opened with an extraordinary $200 million in China alone during its opening weekend. This figure far exceeded expectations and set a new standard for the potential of animated films in the Chinese market. 2. International reception. In addition to its home country success, Ne Zha 2 also performed remarkably well overseas, grossing nearly $500 million in international markets. It found significant audiences in Southeast Asia, Europe, and even the United States, where it was screened in select theaters. 3. Cumulative gross. By the end of its second week in theaters, Ne Zha 2 had already surpassed $1.5 billion, with the momentum continuing to build. This trajectory was faster than any other animated film in history, and the film's staying power in theaters indicated that its financial success would only increase over time. Why did Ne Zha 2 perform so well? Several factors contributed to the monumental success of Ne Zha 2 at the global box office. The film's ability to break records is a result of a combination of cultural, financial, and strategic factors that aligned perfectly to make it a blockbuster. 1. Cultural appeal of Chinese animation. Chinese animation has made remarkable strides in recent years. While traditionally overshadowed by Hollywood's dominant animated blockbusters, films like Ne Zha, 2019, set a precedent for high-quality, culturally resonant animated movies. Ne Zha 2 built upon this success, offering not only a rich narrative rooted in Chinese mythology, but also universal themes that resonated with international audiences. The character of Ne Zha is derived from Chinese folklore, specifically from a mythological figure known for his rebellious nature and his ability to challenge both gods and demons. The mythological basis in Chinese culture provides a refreshing contrast to the Western mythos that often dominates animated film storytelling. The rich cultural landscape depicted in Ne Zha 2, from its vibrant depictions of ancient Chinese landscapes to its fantastical creatures, attracted viewers looking for new experiences outside of the usual Western animated fare. Stunning visuals and animation. One of the standout features of Ne Zha 2 is its animation quality. The film utilized cutting-edge 3D animation technology that blends seamlessly with traditional Chinese art styles. This combination gave the film a visually unique look that set it apart from its competitors. The action scenes in particular are a visual extravaganza, with high-energy battles, beautiful landscapes, and intricate designs that bring the mythology to life in a way that had never been seen before in Chinese cinema. The film's epic battle sequences, in which Ne Zha faces off against mythological monsters, are regarded as some of the most impressive in the genre. The visual appeal of the film has been a major driver of its box office success, particularly in markets where animation enthusiasts have praised its artistic direction. 3. Strong domestic appeal in China. The film's success in China is another key factor in its financial triumph. The Chinese New Year holiday period is a time when box offices see huge surges in ticket sales, with audiences flocking to theaters for family-friendly entertainment. Ne Zha 2 capitalized on this by appealing to a wide range of audiences, including children, adults, and families. Its blend of humor, action, and heartfelt moments made it a favorite among viewers of all ages. Additionally, Chinese audiences have developed a strong affection for the character of Ne Zha, who has become a cultural icon. His character represents the embodiment of youthful rebellion and the desire to defy the odds, making him a figure that resonates with many people in China. As such, the film's domestic performance has been unparalleled, with some theaters in China experiencing record-breaking ticket sales. 4. Cross-cultural appeal. While Ne Zha 2 is deeply rooted in Chinese culture, its themes of self-discovery, family, and destiny resonate universally. The universal themes are one of the reasons the film has found success beyond China's borders. The character of Ne Zha, a rebellious hero coming to terms with his place in the world, has global appeal, especially in markets that are hungry for diverse voices and narratives. In Southeast Asia, the film performed particularly well due to shared cultural ties and a love for epic storytelling. In Western markets, particularly in the United States and Europe, the film's innovative animation and dynamic action sequences drew interest from animation enthusiasts and families alike. Additionally, the increasing popularity of Chinese cinema abroad, fueled by hits like The Wandering Earth, 2019, likely contributed to the film's ability to cross cultural barriers. 5. Marketing strategy. the marketing efforts for Ne Zha 2 were robust and well executed. The film's production company, Beijing Inlight Media, used a blend of traditional advertising and digital marketing to create buzz before the film's release. Social media platforms, particularly in China, were abuzz with teasers, trailers, and fan art in the months leading up to the release. Internationally, the film's international distributors made strategic efforts to position Ne Zha 2 as a must-see event in global cinemas, attracting viewers from various regions. The marketing strategy also emphasized the film's groundbreaking nature, both in terms of its animation and its financial performance. These elements were used to generate excitement and draw in audiences who were curious to see a non-Western animated film that was breaking global box office records. Comparison to other animated films. When compared to other animated films, Ne Zha 2 stands out for several reasons. 1. Box office record. Ne Zha 2 became the highest-grossing animated film of all time, surpassing even Disney's Frozen 2, 2019. It achieved this by appealing to a broader international market, something that very few animated films have done successfully outside of Hollywood. 2. Animation quality. In terms of animation quality, Ne Zha 2 holds its own alongside the best from major studios like Pixar and DreamWorks. The film's ability to blend traditional Chinese visual elements with cutting-edge CGI animation gives it a unique identity in the world of animation. 3. Global appeal. While Disney and Pixar films have long dominated the global box office, Ne Zha 2 shows that non-Western animated films can capture the hearts of international audiences. Its success has paved the way for more films from China and other countries to compete in the global animation market. Conclusion. The future of Ne Zha 2 and the Chinese animation industry. The box office success of Ne Zha 2 has paved the way for greater investment in Chinese animation. With its ability to break records and attract international audiences, the film has shown that Chinese animated films can stand shoulder to shoulder with the biggest Hollywood blockbusters. Moving forward, Ne Zha 2's success could help build a more robust global market for Chinese animation, potentially leading to more high-profile releases that could continue to challenge the dominance of Western animated films. The film's success will likely be seen as a catalyst for the growth of the Chinese animation industry, which could see more innovation, higher quality productions, and greater international exposure. For audiences worldwide, Ne Zha 2 offers a glimpse into the future of animation, where global storytelling transcends linguistic and cultural boundaries to create experiences that speak to people everywhere. Ne Zha 2, 2025, is particularly famous in China, where it originates and is celebrated as a major achievement in Chinese animation. The film builds on the success of its predecessor, Ne Zha 2019, which also resonated deeply with domestic audiences. Here are the key countries where Ne Zha 2 has gained widespread recognition. 1. China. Home country. Ne Zha 2 is a Chinese animated film, and it has become a cultural phenomenon within the country. With its release coinciding with the Chinese New Year, it is a holiday favorite, attracting a large number of viewers across the nation. The film's exploration of Chinese mythology and its incorporation of traditional themes resonate with local audiences. The character of Ne Zha, inspired by Chinese folklore, is widely known and beloved in Chinese culture, making the film's success in China almost a given. The domestic box office in China has been exceptionally strong, contributing significantly to the film's $1.7 billion global gross. 2. Southeast Asia. Countries in Southeast Asia, such as Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, and the Philippines, have embraced Ne Zha 2 due to shared cultural ties and a growing interest in Chinese cinema. The film's mythology and themes often resonate with regional folklore, making it appealing to audiences across the region. The popularity of Chinese films and animated works has been increasing in Southeast Asia, with films like The Wandering Earth, 2019, also finding commercial success. Ne Zha 2 followed this trend, performing well in theaters. 3. United States. In the United States, Ne Zha 2 received attention as an international animated film, and its success in international markets contributed to interest from animation enthusiasts. While the film didn't reach the same level of box office performance as major Hollywood animated films like Frozen 2, it still made an impact, especially within communities with ties to China and other East Asian countries. Asterisk animation lovers, critics, and film festivals took notice of Ne Zha too, praising it for its visuals and storytelling. These countries have a growing interest in international cinema, and animated films from countries like Japan and China have been performing better in recent years. Asterisk the film's visual quality and storytelling were appreciated by European audiences, and it gained a niche following. 5. Other Asian markets. Asterisk beyond Southeast Asia. Ne Zha 2 was also well received in Japan and South Korea. These countries have strong traditions in animation and a deep appreciation for animated films. While the film had more limited screenings, its recognition of Chinese mythology and action-driven plot elements caught the attention of anime and animation fans in these regions. 6. Latin America. Asterisk in Latin American countries like Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina, Ne Zha 2 found a growing audience for international animated films. These countries have an increasing appetite for high-quality animations, and the film's universal themes helped it connect with audiences beyond cultural borders. Global success. Although Ne Zha 2 is primarily popular in China and certain regions of Asia, its success on the global stage, particularly in non-English-speaking markets, marks a significant shift in the landscape of international animation. Its ability to cross cultural boundaries and appeal to a global audience demonstrates the increasing importance of Chinese animation in global cinema. Overall, Ne Zha 2 has become a global success, with its greatest fame and box office performance in China, but also significant recognition in various international markets. It marks a milestone for the broader acceptance of non-Western animated films and their growing influence in the international film industry. Here are some key facts about Ne Zha 2, 2025, the highly successful animated film. 1. Sequel to Ne Zha 2019. Asterisk Ne Zha 2 is the sequel to the 2019 animated film Ne Zha, which was also a massive hit in China and internationally. The original movie broke box office records in China and became the highest-grossing animated film at the time in the country. 2. Released during Chinese New Year. Asterisk the film was released on January 29, 2025, to coincide with Chinese New Year, a peak time for movie releases in China. This timing helped the film tap into the holiday spirit, as families typically go to the movies during this time. 3. Based on Chinese mythology. Asterisk Ne Zha 2 continues to draw inspiration from Chinese mythology, particularly the legend of Ne Zha, a rebellious and powerful figure from Chinese folklore. Ne Zha's character represents themes of defiance, fate, and redemption. 4. Box office success. Asterisk the film has grossed over $1.7 billion globally, making it the highest-grossing animated film of all time, surpassing Disney's Frozen 2, 2019. Asterisk in its opening weekend in China, the film earned $200 million, setting a new benchmark for animated films in the region. Asterisk the film also performed exceptionally well internationally, earning nearly $500 million from overseas markets. 5. Visual masterpiece. Asterisk the animation in Ne Zha 2 is cutting-edge, combining traditional Chinese artistic elements with modern 3D animation techniques. The film's visual style has been lauded for its vibrant and intricate designs, particularly in action scenes, which feature dynamic, high-energy battles and mythological creatures. 6. Strong domestic reception. Asterisk Ne Zha 2 was a massive hit in China, drawing large audiences across all age groups. Its combination of humor, action, and heartfelt moments made it an ideal family film, contributing to its dominance in the Chinese box office. 7. Global appeal. Asterisk while primarily popular in China, Ne Zha 2 found a receptive audience in Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines. The film's Chinese mythology and themes of rebellion and destiny also resonated in these regions. Asterisk Ne Zha 2 gained attention in Europe and the United States as well, particularly among animation enthusiasts and fans of international cinema. 8. Cultural and mythological significance. Asterisk the movie's central character, Ne Zha, is deeply rooted in Chinese folklore, where he is portrayed as a god born under extraordinary circumstances. In the film, Ne Zha's journey of self-discovery, growth, and rebellion against destiny drives much of the story's emotional core. The film's use of mythological elements and gods further underscores China's rich cultural history, making it not just an animated adventure but also a cultural artifact for Chinese audiences and a global audience keen on learning about Chinese traditions. 9. Produced by Beijing Inlight Media. The film was produced by Beijing Inlight Media, a leading Chinese entertainment company known for its contributions to animation and film. The company's expertise in animation production helped make Ne Zha 2 a high-quality visual experience. 10. Directed by Yuze. Ne Zha 2 was directed by Yuze, an experienced director in the Chinese animation industry. His vision for the film was to create a continuation of Ne Zha's journey while maintaining the compelling combination of action, humor, and heartfelt moments that made the first film a success. 11. Voice cast. The film features an impressive voice cast, including Dong Wan as Ne Zha. The cast brings emotional depth to the characters, and the voice acting was praised for adding layers of complexity to the story. While the film features primarily Chinese voice actors, it also received dubbing in various international languages, allowing it to reach wider audiences globally. 12. Impact on Chinese animation industry. Ne Zha 2 is a landmark for Chinese animation, proving that high-quality animated films can achieve international recognition and success. It follows in the footsteps of other Chinese films, such as The Wandering Earth, 2019, that have performed well abroad, signaling the growing influence of Chinese cinema on the global stage. 13. Growing market for non-Western animated films. The success of Ne Zha 2 signals a larger trend in the global animation industry. Traditionally, animated films from major studios like Disney and Pixar have dominated the global market. However, Ne Zha 2 demonstrates that audiences are increasingly receptive to non-Western animated films, particularly those with culturally rich storytelling and high animation quality. 14. Epic battle sequences. The film is known for its epic battle scenes, which are a key highlight. The sequences are visually stunning, with smooth animation and dynamic choreography. These action-packed moments are a central part of the film's appeal, especially for audiences who enjoy intense, high-energy confrontations. 15. Exploration of universal themes. While the film is deeply connected to Chinese culture, its themes of destiny, self-discovery, and rebellion are universal. This allowed Ne Zha 2 to connect with audiences beyond China and Asia. The character of Ne Zha, who is trying to find his place in the world while defying the expectations placed on him, resonates with people of all ages and backgrounds. 16. Future of the Ne Zha franchise. Following the success of Ne Zha 2, there are already discussions about continuing the franchise with a potential third installment. The ongoing popularity of the character and the film's financial success suggests that more films may follow, solidifying Ne Zha as a central figure in both Chinese and global animation. 17. Awards and recognition. While Ne Zha 2 is relatively new, it has already been recognized for its outstanding animation and storytelling. The film is expected to be a strong contender at upcoming animation and film awards, including the Annie Awards and potentially the Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature. 18. Collaboration with global distributors. The film's global success can also be attributed to strategic collaborations with international distributors. By targeting markets in Southeast Asia, Europe, and North America, the film was able to expand its reach significantly beyond Chinese-speaking audiences. 19. Influence on future Chinese films. The box office success of Ne Zha 2 will likely influence future Chinese films and animation projects. It showcases the potential for high-quality animated films from China to make waves internationally, encouraging further investment in the industry. 20. Critical reception. Critics have praised the film for its visual effects, animation quality, and emotional depth. While some pointed to familiar narrative structures, the film's heart and creativity have garnered widespread acclaim. The blend of action and heartwarming moments is frequently highlighted as one of the film's strongest aspects. In summary, Ne Zha 2 is an animated film that has captured global attention due to its striking visuals, deep connection to Chinese mythology, and universal themes. Its massive box office success and the positive reception from audiences and critics alike highlight the growing influence of Chinese animation on the world stage. Sure, here is an in-depth review of Ne Zha 2, 2025, broken down into several detailed paragraphs, totaling around 2,500 words. Introduction: a cinematic milestone in Chinese animation. Ne Zha 2, 2025, represents a remarkable achievement in the world of animated cinema. Following the immense success of its predecessor, Ne Zha, 2019, this sequel not only elevates the franchise to new heights but also marks a significant moment in the history of Chinese animation. It builds upon the foundations set by the first film, offering an even more refined and expansive narrative, backed by cutting-edge animation and action-packed sequences. As one of the most successful animated films in recent years, Ne Zha 2 has captured the attention of both domestic audiences in China and international viewers around the globe, breaking box office records and achieving critical acclaim. This review will analyze the film's narrative structure, animation quality, cultural significance, character development, and its impact on the global animation landscape. Narrative structure and themes. At its core, Ne Zha 2 is a story about self-discovery, destiny, and rebellion. The film continues the tale of Ne Zha, a character based on a figure from Chinese folklore who defies fate and strives to carve out his own identity. Unlike traditional heroic stories where the protagonist must accept their destiny, Ne Zha challenges the path laid out for him. In Ne Zha 2, the narrative delves deeper into these themes, exploring Ne Zha's internal struggles and growth as he learns to confront both external threats and his own inner conflicts. The plot picks up where the first movie left off, with Ne Zha having gained some control over his powers and forged meaningful relationships. However, the pressure of being an outcast and the weight of his own potential continue to haunt him. The central conflict of the story revolves around Ne Zha's fight against forces that seek to control his destiny. As he battles these external foes, he must also learn to overcome his insecurities and doubts. This dual struggle between external enemies and internal growth serves as the backbone of the film, providing both exciting action sequences and emotional depth. The storytelling in Ne Zha 2 is layered and engaging, offering a balance between thrilling battle sequences and quieter, more introspective moments. The film's pacing is expertly handled, keeping the audience invested in the plot while allowing time for character development. Unlike many other animated films that may prioritize action over depth, Ne Zha 2 finds a way to weave powerful emotional arcs into the narrative, making the stakes of the battles feel even more significant. Animation quality and visual style. One of the standout features of Ne Zha 2 is its stunning animation. The film uses cutting-edge 3D animation techniques that blend seamlessly with traditional Chinese art forms, creating a visual style that is both unique and mesmerizing. The vibrant colors, intricate designs, and fluid animation set the film apart from many Western animated features, offering a fresh perspective on the possibilities of animated filmmaking. The action scenes in Ne Zha 2 are a visual feast, filled with intense, high-energy battles that are choreographed to perfection. The fight sequences are dynamic and thrilling, with the animation style allowing for smooth, fluid movements that capture the power and agility of the characters. The animation team went to great lengths to ensure that each battle felt weighty and impactful, with the use of slow motion and close-up shots heightening the intensity of each moment. This level of detail adds a layer of sophistication to the action, allowing the audience to fully appreciate the stakes of each conflict. Beyond the battles, the film's world-building is also exceptional. The fantastical landscapes, richly designed characters, and mythological creatures all come to life with a level of detail that is rare in animated films. The use of Chinese folklore as a basis for the film's visual aesthetic provides an opportunity for the animation to explore cultural motifs and symbols in a way that is both beautiful and meaningful. From the vibrant celestial realms to the dark, ominous underworlds, every scene in Ne Zha 2 feels like a work of art in itself. offering an immersive experience that captures the imagination of viewers. Cultural significance and mythological roots. At its heart, Ne Zha 2 is deeply rooted in Chinese mythology. The film takes inspiration from the ancient tale of Ne Zha, a hero from the classic Chinese novel Fengshen Yanni, the investiture of the gods. This mythology has long been a part of Chinese cultural heritage, and the character of Ne Zha holds a special place in the hearts of Chinese audiences. The film's decision to adapt and reinterpret this legendary figure is a bold one, as it offers a fresh take on a well-known story while still staying true to the original material. The film's depiction of Ne Zha as a rebellious, strong-willed hero who defies his fate is a powerful symbol of empowerment, especially in Chinese culture. The story of Ne Zha's defiance against the gods and his struggle to shape his own destiny resonates deeply with the themes of individualism and perseverance that are celebrated in Chinese society. In this way, Ne Zha 2 not only serves as an entertaining fantasy adventure, but also as a reflection of Chinese values and ideals. Moreover, the film's exploration of Chinese mythology extends beyond the character of Ne Zha. The inclusion of various gods, demons, and mythological creatures adds layers of depth to the world building, allowing audiences to dive deeper into the rich tapestry of Chinese folklore. The film's intricate world is a visual and narrative exploration of a culture that is often underrepresented in mainstream global cinema, making it a significant step forward for Chinese animated films in the international market. Character development and voice acting. The film's character development is another area where Ne Zha 2 excels. Ne Zha himself undergoes significant growth throughout the story, transitioning from a rebellious and isolated figure into someone who learns to accept the importance of his relationships and his place in the world. This character arc is handled with great care, allowing for moments of introspection and self-realization that are both poignant and relatable. Ne Zha's internal conflict is explored in a way that adds emotional weight to the action-driven plot, making his victories feel all the more earned. Supporting characters also receive significant development, with many of them getting their own moments to shine. Ne Zha's relationships with his family and friends are explored in greater depth in this sequel, adding layers to his character that were not fully explored in the first film. The film introduces new characters as well, each of whom brings their own unique qualities to the story. These characters are not simply there to support Ne Zha but have their own arcs and motivations, which makes the film feel more complex and engaging. The voice acting in Ne Zha 2 is another strength. The Chinese voice cast delivers their performances with great conviction, imbuing the characters with the emotion and depth they deserve. Dong Wan, who voices Ne Zha, brings a great deal of energy and nuance to the character, capturing both his rebellious spirit and his internal struggles. The supporting cast also does an excellent job, with each actor breathing life into their respective roles. The performances are particularly impressive given the film's action-oriented nature, as the actors are able to convey emotion through both their vocal delivery and the physicality of the characters they portray. Global reception and box office success. One of the most striking aspects of Ne Zha 2 is its global success. The film not only dominated the Chinese box office but also achieved significant success in international markets. Its opening weekend grossed over $200 million in China alone, setting a new record for an animated film. This is an impressive feat considering the competitive nature of the Chinese film market during the holiday season, with multiple high-profile films vying for attention. Beyond China, Ne Zha 2 performed exceptionally well in Southeast Asia, Europe, and the United States. The film's universal themes of self-discovery, destiny, and rebellion, combined with its breathtaking animation and high-energy action sequences, allowed it to connect with audiences across different cultures. The film grossed nearly $500 million from international markets, making it the highest-grossing animated film of all time as of its release. This success marks a turning point for Chinese animation, signaling that animated films from China can now compete on a global scale with the best that Hollywood has to offer. The future of Chinese animation. The success of Ne Zha 2 has far-reaching implications for the future of Chinese animation. While films like Kung Fu Panda, 2008, and Big Fish and Begonia, 2016, have demonstrated the potential of Chinese animation, Ne Zha 2 is arguably the most successful animated film from China to date. Its performance at the global box office proves that there is a growing appetite for non-Western animated films, especially those that are deeply rooted in their own cultural traditions. The film's success has sparked interest in the potential for more animated features from China to reach international markets. In particular, it could open doors for more adaptations of Chinese folklore and mythology, providing a new source of material for animated films. The growing influence of Chinese animated films on the global market may also encourage more collaboration between Chinese studios and international distributors, further expanding the reach of Chinese animation worldwide. Conclusion. In conclusion, Ne Zha 2, 2025, is a monumental achievement in animated filmmaking. From its captivating narrative and stunning animation to its cultural significance and universal appeal, the film stands as a testament to the growing influence of Chinese cinema on the global stage. With its record-breaking box office success and critical acclaim, Ne Zha 2 is a film that will be remembered not only as a masterpiece of animation but also as a cultural milestone. Its impact on the future of Chinese animation cannot be overstated, and it will undoubtedly inspire future generations of filmmakers to push the boundaries of what animation can achieve. Whether you are a fan of animated films, Chinese culture, or simply enjoy a great story, Ne Zha 2 is a must-watch, offering a visual and emotional experience that is both unique and unforgettable. Certainly, let's continue diving deeper into the review of Ne Zha 2, 2025, and explore more aspects of its artistry, themes, and reception. The importance of mythology and cultural representation. One of the key elements that sets Ne Zha 2 apart from other animated films is its deep connection to Chinese mythology. Unlike many Western animated films, which tend to either be set in original fantasy worlds or draw from Greek and Norse mythology, Ne Zha 2 is rooted in the rich, ancient tapestry of Chinese cultural lore. The character of Ne Zha, originally derived from the Chinese epic Fengshen Yanni, the investiture of the gods, has a storied history in Chinese folklore. In the film, Ne Zha's story is expanded upon, reimagined, and explored with a modern twist, reflecting both the timeless nature of the myth and the evolving understanding of personal identity. The film's handling of mythological elements allows for a more nuanced exploration of its protagonist. Ne Zha's narrative has long been associated with themes of rebellion against the gods and the establishment of his own path. This core conflict of challenging destiny and reclaiming control over one's life resonates deeply with both Chinese audiences and those unfamiliar with the original myth, making it a story of universal appeal. The traditional Chinese values of honor, familial duty, and self-sacrifice are interwoven throughout, providing a platform to explore Ne Zha's inner turmoil. These elements do not only serve the purpose of world building but also act as a means of honoring Chinese cultural traditions through animation. The portrayal of other mythological figures, including gods, demons, and legendary creatures, further enriches the narrative. By incorporating these figures, Ne Zha 2 offers viewers a vivid representation of ancient Chinese myth, with impressive depictions of divine realms and the spirit world. This exploration of Chinese folklore allows audiences worldwide to gain a deeper appreciation for the history and complexities of Chinese mythology while offering a stunning visual experience. The use of animation to communicate themes. In terms of animation, Ne Zha 2 utilizes state-of-the-art 3D animation techniques to tell its story in a visually striking way. However, what sets this film apart is not just the quality of animation, but how the art style itself communicates the themes of the movie. The filmmakers blend traditional Chinese art styles with modern animation technology to create a visual language that reflects the narrative's underlying messages. The dynamic battle sequences, for instance, are a visual representation of the struggle for freedom and self-determination that runs throughout the plot. The fluidity and choreography of the fights not only showcase the characters' superhuman abilities, but also symbolize their emotional and personal growth. The battles are not just physical confrontations, but also symbolic moments where Ne Zha faces internal challenges and asserts his autonomy over the destiny that others have imposed upon him. The use of color and design is equally important in conveying thematic meaning. The darker, muted tones used for scenes that depict the forces of fate and destiny stand in stark contrast to the vibrant, bold colors of the heroic sequences. This contrast highlights Ne Zha's inner conflict and the dichotomy between his desires and the expectations placed upon him. The visual metaphors extend beyond the character designs, as the environments themselves embody larger philosophical themes. For example, celestial realms are portrayed with expansive, grandiose landscapes, representing the divine and the higher calling of the gods, while darker, more claustrophobic settings are used to convey moments of despair and self-doubt. In this way, the film's animation is not merely a tool for action and spectacle, but an integral part of its storytelling. The visual elements work in tandem with the narrative to create a deeply immersive experience that allows viewers to feel the emotional weight of the film's central themes. The globalization of Chinese animation. Another significant aspect of Ne Zha 2's success is its role in the globalization of Chinese animation. As the film's box office numbers suggest, Ne Zha 2 is part of a larger movement where Chinese animated films are now capable of competing with major Western studios. In recent years, the animation industry in China has grown significantly, and with that growth comes the desire to create content that can appeal to a worldwide audience. Before the release of Ne Zha 2, Chinese animated films were generally considered niche, appealing mostly to domestic viewers or those with a particular interest in Chinese culture. However, the success of Ne Zha 2 at the global box office demonstrates that audiences worldwide are more than willing to embrace animation from China when it offers compelling stories, beautiful visuals, and universal themes. The film's strong international performance, earning significant box office revenue not just in China but also in Southeast Asia, North America, and Europe, shows that cultural barriers in animation are being increasingly overcome. As more animated films from China enter the global stage, Ne Zha 2 could very well be seen as a milestone in the emergence of China as a leader in the global animation market. Moreover, the film's reception in non-Chinese-speaking countries highlights an important trend. There is an increasing demand for diverse storytelling in animation. Audiences in the United States, Europe, and beyond are becoming more open to films from different cultures that offer new perspectives and aesthetic experiences. Ne Zha 2 has undoubtedly played a part in expanding this global appetite for diverse animated stories, and future Chinese animated films are likely to benefit from the positive reception of Ne Zha 2. Musical and auditory elements. A major contributor to the film's emotional resonance is its musical score and sound design. The soundtrack of Ne Zha 2 is a rich blend of traditional Chinese instruments and modern orchestral music, which helps to evoke the film's fantastical setting while also connecting the viewer to its cultural roots. The use of traditional instruments such as the erhu, guqin, and pipa gives the film a distinctly Chinese soundscape, reinforcing the mythological and historical context of the story. Meanwhile, the more modern orchestral compositions bring a sense of grandeur to the action sequences and emotional scenes, creating a seamless fusion of past and present that mirrors the film's thematic exploration of identity. The sound design is equally important, particularly in the action scenes. The sound effects are crisp and immersive, from the clang of swords in battle to the booming of Ne. The rise of Chinese animation in the global market. The success of Ne Zha 2, 2025, is not an isolated incident but part of a larger trend. The rise of Chinese animation on the global stage. Chinese animated films have come a long way from their earlier, often simple designs and limited international recognition. Over the past decade, China has poured considerable investment into its animation industry, resulting in a surge of high-quality films like The King of Wolves, 2020, White Snake, 2019, and the previous Ne Zha film. This movement toward better production values, richer stories, and more complex characters has helped these films gain traction both domestically and internationally. Before the success of films like Ne Zha and Ne Zha 2, Chinese animation was often seen as an industry largely dominated by children's content. However, these films have proven that animation is a versatile medium capable of engaging audiences of all ages. Ne Zha 2 stands at the forefront of this shift, helping to reshape perceptions of Chinese animation. By blending elements of Chinese mythology, fantasy, action, and emotionally resonant storytelling, the film pushes the boundaries of what animated films can achieve and demonstrates that there is a market for sophisticated and culturally rich animation globally. As international audiences increasingly engage with Chinese animated content, the success of Ne Zha 2 marks a crucial step toward cultural exchange in the animation world. It also opens the door for other Chinese animated films to be distributed in markets that were previously difficult to penetrate. It is no longer uncommon to see Chinese animated films being shown in Western theaters or making an impact at global animation festivals. This cross-cultural dialogue has become one of the most exciting aspects of Chinese animation's rise, as it allows for the blending of Eastern storytelling traditions with Western animation techniques. The increasing success of Ne Zha 2 and its predecessor demonstrates that audiences worldwide are increasingly willing to engage with diverse narratives. The film also shows that viewers are ready for stories that transcend global commercial formulas and explore unique cultural perspectives. Chinese mythology and folklore may have a specific cultural origin, but their core themes, identity, rebellion, love, and self-determination, are universally appealing, bridging the gap between cultures. Philosophical and psychological layers. Ne Zha's personal journey. Beyond the spectacle of action and the vibrant animation, Ne Zha 2 is a deeply psychological film. The protagonist's emotional journey is far more than a series of heroic adventures. At its heart, the story is about growth, self-discovery, and reconciliation with one's past. These themes resonate universally and are one of the key reasons why the film appeals to a wide range of audiences. Ne Zha's personal struggle is rooted in his identity crisis. Throughout the film, he grapples with the fact that his existence was forged by the gods, and thus he was destined for destruction from the very start. This creates a complex inner conflict. Should he follow the will of the gods, which would involve sacrificing his autonomy, or should he defy them, which might cause him to lose his place in the world? Ne Zha is constantly pushed to the brink of losing himself in the battle against his so-called fate. This emotional struggle builds throughout the film, and it is through his reconciliation with his origins and acceptance of his potential that he finds his true self. One of the most poignant moments in the film occurs when Ne Zha chooses not to follow the path set out by the gods, embracing the idea that he is the author of his own story. This philosophical stance aligns with the modern concept of self-empowerment. In many ways, Ne Zha represents the journey that young people face when they attempt to carve out their own identities in a world full of expectations and pressures. His story, filled with defiance and self-doubt, is a reflection of the universal human experience of forging a personal path, making Ne Zha 2 a story that transcends its mythological origins and speaks to contemporary audiences on a very personal level. In particular, Ne Zha's relationship with his parents is central to the emotional weight of the story. His mother, in particular, plays a pivotal role as the figure who believes in his ability to choose his own destiny despite the heavy burden of fate. This relationship speaks to the broader theme of family dynamics and the unconditional love that persists even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The film's exploration of Ne Zha's emotional evolution, from an outcast to a hero who can balance love, duty, and freedom, is handled with an emotional depth that sets it apart from many other animated films. Technology and animation techniques, blending tradition with innovation. One of the defining characteristics of Ne Zha 2 is its state-of-the-art animation. The film is a masterclass in the use of CGI, computer-generated imagery, and 3D animation, creating a world that feels both highly stylized and meticulously detailed. The technological advancements in animation have allowed for more dynamic action sequences and fluid character movements, which would not have been possible just a few years ago. But it's not just the cutting-edge animation techniques that make Ne Zha 2 stand out. The film also embraces traditional Chinese artistic styles, blending them with modern animation to create something that feels both innovative and culturally rich. The environments are heavily inspired by classical Chinese landscapes, often resembling traditional ink wash painting and scroll art. These landscapes, filled with vast mountains, rolling rivers, and mystical temples, evoke a sense of spirituality and timelessness, reminding the audience of the depth of Chinese artistic heritage. The animation team's dedication to this fusion of modern technology and traditional art forms allows the film to present a unique visual experience that is distinctly Chinese yet universally accessible. The action scenes in Ne Zha 2 are another area where the animation excels. From aerial battles involving flying warriors to high-energy showdowns filled with supernatural powers, The animation keeps the audience on the edge of their seat. The fluidity of motion during the fight scenes is unmatched, giving the characters a sense of weight and realism that makes their powers feel tangible. This allows viewers to connect emotionally with the characters, as the action is not just a spectacle but a reflection of their internal struggles. The fight choreography,